Us here. Mainframe dropped us a little clarification on some of the stuff that they talked about on Friday. So we're going to go over that real quick, along with a few little things that popped up in the Discord this morning. So uh, hang on tight and let's go over stuff. So they did some clarifications on spirit versus stamina. Again, I think a lot of this was where people weren't understanding what they said on Friday. So there was some misunderstandings and people were propagating that information on Discord, and it was causing a lot of confusion. So they're trying to nix the confusion and get everybody on the same page, and maybe uh, make everyone happy here. So we're talking about spirit and stamina. Basically, spirit's going to be used for your spells, healing staves, and weapon special attacks. Stamina is just going to be for your physical stuff: blocking, gathering, swimming, sprinting, jumping, and climbing. They talk about the two resources work very differently. Stamina, you're going to have a small pool with fast regeneration. Spirit, large pool, slow regeneration. So it's just one of those things where you're going to have to balance how you're doing stuff. It's resource management. So it's same in every game. So from there we go into healing staffs and the viability. The healing staff is a support tool, and it's meant to heal, cast some buffs and that sort of thing. You can attack with it, and we talked about this Friday a little bit. You can go out and try to kill a bear with a pointy stick. It's going to be painful and it's going to take quite a while. So they're saying here with the healing staff that it's going to have a weak projectile attack, which is your left click, just like a sword swing, except you're just a small pew versus a big pew kind of thing. So soloing is possible, but leveling as a healer is best suited for group play. And then they talk about the targeting improvements and stuff. And Osric expanded on that a little bit more. Some people had asked about, does the old targeting and stuff work? Can I still use the reticle to cast a spell? And he says old targeting methods still work. He says the biggest change in old targeting is that targeting healing spells only heal your target. Previously, it used to heal you and the target. Now that we have quick self cast modifier keys like the Alt key, self healing is extremely quick to do. Just hold Alt and spell input, and it'll cast a spell immediately on you. So, like Divine Remedy, you used to like cast it on someone, and whatever you hit them for, you got as well. So it sounds like that type of spell is going away. So from there, we can talk about sigils and rarity. This was something that was talked about Friday. They did clarify a little bit. So sigils are still required to craft some of the newer items. Items now have rarity levels of common, uncommon, and rare. Common items do not require relics. So I'm guessing what that means is the better stuff, yeah, you're still going to need a relic. So you're still going to have to do dungeons, some of the overland points of interest, like maybe there's maybe the Luna Wolf drops something, some new sigil, or the some of the Inquisitor camps and stuff like that, or some of the lower level Zebian camps. Hopefully they've adjusted the ghost uh, loot tables, so maybe they're actually worth hunting now. So hopefully there's quite a bit of stuff spread out there. Um, we go on to talk about armor, weapons, and mobility. All players move at the same base speed regardless of armor weight, and they talked about this on Friday some through Discord about how they wanted to keep everyone at the same speed because it's in my opinion it's a balancing issue. You're going to have the cloth guy running around really fast and attacking the tank, and the tank's not going to be able to catch him. Without some kind of special ability that may or may not be on a cooldown, that just doesn't make it feasible. So I think in a balancing situation, it's probably better to keep everyone on the same foot. So, and it talked about the differences with like and also that some of the like there's the Orioles treads that have like the little speed boost and thing. there's still going to be some spells like that will still temporarily improve your movement speed. So those are nice to have, especially if you're doing like any kind of gathering and stuff. I find that those utility pieces are really helpful. Um, Heavy armor, more protection, more threat aggro, and slower damage output. So yeah, it makes sense. You don't want the guy that takes a little damage doing a whole lot of damage. So it's just a balancing thing. They reiterated what the tank weapons were supposed to be, which is going to be the mace and the great mace. Lower DPS, but generate extra threat and aggro. So there they talk about the whole purpose of the roles, and basically what they're trying to do is create, it's a classless system. So tank, healers, and DPS, you swap gear out, and that's how you acquire your role basically. So, and you'll be able to mix and match your gear and stuff to kind of get like the hybrid kind of build that tailors to your play style the best. So each armor type and slot now has its own combat skill. Combat XP is earned by defeating enemies and is shared with your party, granted to all equipped weapons and armor types, and killing veteran enemies, group content enemies with skulls next to their names will grant more XP. Now, one thing they did say in the Discord earlier this morning was like, there's no like splitting of the XP. So if you get 100 XP for killing some mob, each piece of your gear gets 100 XP. So it's not like, you've got to take 100 and split it between your 4 armor pieces or 6 armor pieces and a weapon and all that. It's all the same across all the pieces. You won't be able to switch gear during combat, which makes sense. You don't want to see some dude like in the middle of a fight, like trying to switch out his chest plate. Although it kind of be funny if you kind of swapped out in the middle of swapping out, you got like smacked really hard. So, weapons and abilities. Every weapon now comes as a package with 3 built-in abilities tailored to its style and role. Weapon types are now available across all tiers, so you can pick based on playstyle, not just level. They go into the blocking and defense, which we had talked about before. Shields and two-handed weapons will have a block rating. One-handed weapons and healing staffs you can't block with. So if you want to do sword and board, the shield is there for the block part. You're not going to be able to block with just a one-handed sword or one-handed mace and stuff. Then we get in here to the spells. Some of the older spells like Mez and Pacify will still not function in PvP. We'll probably see some big changes when they get to, I guess, what we're right now. I think a lot of people are referring to verse 4, which will be the Leoness 2 update. It sounds like there's quite a bit in store for that. Cooldowns, talking about ambush having a 50 to 70 second cooldown subject to balancing. So what that means is right now, they've got the cooldown set to a certain point. If they see that some things lacking or some things are way OP, they're gonna like probably with some patches throughout verse 3 adjust those cooldowns and stuff to try to balance things, especially for PvP. One of the things that also came up during this discussion about spells and stuff on the Discord, Osric dropped the thing saying that Pilgrim's Fire has been removed for the time being. Something similar will come as a weapon spell later. So no more Fireball Bracers, which, I'm sure somebody's going to like rant and cry about that. But at the same time, the targeting on those bracers was horrible, and I don't know how many times I'd go to pull something in a dungeon and the fireball would catch on the edge of a step and never actually hit my intended target. So probably for the best. I mean, they didn't provide a whole lot of damage, compared to everything else you had, so it's not going to be missed a whole lot. And then after that, he said, some people were talking about the lack of offensive spells and not being able to play like a spellcaster. in verse 3. And Osric come back and said, verse 3 update is huge. We had to choose where we focus, and while we know that many people prefer to play the offensive caster archetype, this is also the most difficult to balance against melee. So basically, it's one of those things of we we can only work on so much at a time. And I playing after playing other games, I know the whole range versus melee is always a huge point of contention and stuff. It's either one of these situations where the range is a glass cannon, and all it takes is the melee to look at them, and they're a greasy spot on the ground. But then there's other times where like the range is just so dominating that the melee guys are just like, screw this, I'm not playing melee anymore. And then all you've got is a whole pack of like casters and rangers basically just roaming and just wrecking everything like a swarm of weevils or something. Um, so I can understand why they pulled out with this. They had mentioned on Friday in the Discord that they had a huge list of offensive spells that they wanted to bring in, but it just wasn't the right time. So, in my opinion, I think what we're going to see is probably a lot of that come in the verse 4, the PvP update, because that's where it's going to be it's going to have the biggest impact. So you can probably look for that then. Um, from there, they go into talking a little bit more about the durability and loot. Heavy armor and weapon durability are increasing, while a large durability work is in the progress, and they've been talking about that. Um, Osric had said previously that too much of the durability loss is going to the weapons right now versus the other parts of your gear. Um, me personally, I've got a Lecter's Barbuda and the chainmail shirt that has like the healing on it. I've had those before the wipe, and I am still wearing those. They look like they have been put through the ringer. The chainmail is actually like it's brown. I mean, it's completely rusted, and one of the elbows actually it looks like it has a hole in it. And I'm kind of sad that I'm going to lose this stuff in the wipe. I kind of wish I could put that stuff up on an armor stand just to keep as a trophy, especially the Barbuda, because it looks like it has been through hell. Basically, it is just black and like all these dings and stuff in the side of it. It looks great. So I'm sad to lose that, but it sounds like they're going to rework the durability some in this patch, and then later on we're going to get a complete redistribution of how durability loss is going to work. So from there, they talked about loot tables are being rebalanced. So maybe we will see loot dropping from ghosts that's actually worthwhile. Stronger gear is meant to be rare, harder to craft, but with an improved durability. So we have that to look forward to. And then from there, they talk about the skill requirements, which I think there was a lot of confusion here. Gear now has minimum combat skill requirements. For example, if an item needs 30 skill, you must meet that level to equip it. It's not, hey, I can wear it, I just can't use the abilities. You have to be that level to wear it. Now, I know this is going to cheese off a lot of RP players and stuff, but it is what it is. Why wear something if you can't use it? That's my opinion. So please don't be mad. Anyway, so and combat skills scale the item's power, so investing in your role matters. So the higher your skill, the better the ability, the better attack, the more damage you get reduced for the armor and stuff. Um, so it looks good. And then from there, we get we will very soon publish a spotlight regarding crafting changes. We're also looking in the possibility of organizing a Q&A with the devs on this Discord in the coming days while we get closer to release of verse 3, Path of the Adventure. Stay tuned for more details. So, I'm looking forward to seeing the crafting changes, especially Yeah, I think we'll see some more info regarding this whole deal with the sigils and the rarities. I think we'll see a lot more information with that. Um, and hopefully we'll see like what else has changed along those lines. Perhaps in that, I don't know if they'll cover this in that one, but we're supposed to get some new building parts. I think we're supposed to get the limestone block and possibly the granite foundations. So hopefully we'll either see that then, or perhaps maybe they'll do a whole building piece spotlight in and of itself. So either way, I'm looking forward to it. Still very hyped about this expansion, or I guess not expansion, but update. I hope you guys are too. So, anyway, that's it for today. I hope, well, maybe we'll see if they drop some more tidbits throughout the day. But I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good week, and we'll talk to you soon. If you like the content, like, subscribe. I appreciate it. Um, anyway, we'll see you in game. Have fun and be nice.